going to be working on today is we're going to be looking at canvases. And we do have some packages putting together that has the smaller, not our big large canvases, but the smaller canvases, as well as canvas bags. If you're going to do a canvas bag, and you either use a piece of cardboard or the packaging material if you got it shipped. You can just put it in the bag to make it a little bit more sturdy like a canvas instead of being all floppies, and also doesn't run through to the back. And with the canvas bags, what's kind of nice is you have two sides. So you can do two different designs, one on one side, one on the other, or leave one side blank, or do the same on both sides. So that's some of the options with that. So what we're looking at this one is kind of the basic watercolor rose style that we're going to be doing. And with the watercolor rose, what we're looking at is creating that design in a watercolor style, either on the canvas bag or on a canvas. So you have a basic canvas just like this that you have, and you're going to need some water, you're going to need your paints, and you're going to be getting a brush that's about this size. So my favorite brush, the flat brush, kind of small, medium sized. It's not enough to usually do the background as well, so if you're going to do a lot of background, back and forth, like what we're doing for this one, you'll need to use another type of material, and I'm going to show you that, because you can use whatever's around your house. But I really like this one. A lot of times I'll paint with either a big brush, flat brush, or one of these. And these are one of those ones, because it's a flat brush, it's really thin there, so we can do lines, we can do bigger areas with the flat areas. So we're going to be doing some techniques mostly with this style of brush. So for our canvas is already just sewed up. It means it already has a layer of white paint on it. If you're doing the canvas bag, you can leave it the plain canvas, which is kind of a tannish color, or you can put some white paint on. And when you're doing your white paint, if you don't have a big brush, spoons are great, because you can dip the back of your spoon in and smear it all over. See how I'm getting it on there? And you can get a pretty good covering by doing that. And you can do that on the bag or the canvas. See how I'm doing that? You probably can't very well. Yeah, you can see a little bit. And it's going to smooth it. So spoons are a great way to kind of fill up your canvas with that white, especially with what we're doing today. So I'm going to fill that out and keep using that spoon to spread around. So if you're ever doing like a larger color area and you just don't have brushes, I mean, I do this with a lot of my kids at school. We use kind of the spoons where we just dip, because it gets a nice big area and it keeps it kind of even. You can also do some texture with it, which is kind of nice. So with this, I'm just going to rub this around all over my canvas. If I leave areas it's kind of plain, that's fine too. It doesn't have to be completely full, because this is going to be our watercolor style one. So it's going to be a little bit different. So I'm just smearing that on there. And you know, for me, I usually walk around, but I kind of like this. We have our lovely little system here. It has a nice light on it to kind of show. But a lot of times I will be bringing it up close too. So I'm just going to be doing that. And depends on how long it takes you. Now, for our watercolor style flower, we're actually going to be adding some water to this. So I'm going to be having it like this a lot instead of up like this. Because if I turned it up like this, it's going to be going all over the place. So that's one thing you want to kind of watch when you do this one, is that watercolor style. And my paints, you're going to get them in like a little plastic bag. I usually just clip the little end off, like the corner, like you're doing frosting, and pour it out, or you can just squeeze a little bit out. And I usually just put it out there. For this one, I'm going to use red, black, green, and white. Very simple colors for this. Now, if you're at home and you want to do a different color, or if you contact me and you'd rather have like a yellow rose or one of those other colors, that's fine. But otherwise, that's the colors for this. So now I have this all kind of just sewed up, as I said. Now, that could be either on your bag or it could be on the canvas. We do want some of that. Now, I'm going to be using, I just have a water cup here. And I'm just going to put water on it. I'm going to do the same thing with my thing. I can even teaspoon some on like that, so I don't have to keep dipping it. And see how I'm swirling it? I'm swirling that around, and now I'm getting that water all over the place. Now that I got that water all over the place, it's going to go all over this canvas. And it's going to make that white paint a little less hard, as I said, because kind of usually it will stay in place wherever you pick it up. Now it's like swirling all over the place. And you can do this with a lot of things. This could be skies, backgrounds, grasses, all sorts of things. But right now I'm just working on it like this. So there, I got my whole canvas covered, and I didn't even use much paint. You really don't need a lot for this, especially this design, because now it's like swirling all over the place. See that? Almost looks like I poured mayonnaise or sour cream all over it. So you kind of want to like that texture. It's kind of watery at top, like when you first open your yogurts. So you have that little bit of thing. Now I'm going to be doing my rose. And with my rose, oh, there's my brush. I lost it. The rose, we're thinking about just the swirl, which is all really we're going for. And if you wanted a lighter pink, just add some white into it. If you want it darker red, then just use the red, which is what I'm going to do. In my rose, I'll show you the design. If you had it in front of you somewhere else, it's fine too. Pretty much takes up the middle. And then we're going to do a small bud on the other side. And the motion we want is just that swirl going around. And you notice here, lighter and darker. That has that water and white. So you don't want to blend it so much it's all the same color. This is actually not a very time-consuming one. This is one you can do while kids are napping, or if you want a kid to do this, this is a really easy one for them too. Especially if you're doing one together, or each one of you are doing one. And see how I'm doing that swirl? I'm leaving some of that white show too. See how I'm kind of going out? Almost has that rose look to it. And I'm just doing that with my brush. If I do really thin strokes, it'll look like that. If I do my flat brush like I'm doing here, it's going to go all over the place. So it's just going to kind of go all around. Some areas I want dark, some I want light. There we go. So you have some areas dark, some areas light. I'm going to keep doing that. And some of our live sessions, if you want to paint along with us, we can all do it together, especially if you have questions. Otherwise, we have these recorded ones just like now, where usually I get to answering the questions. A lot of the problems we have with this is if you blend too much. If you blend too much over and over and over and over, see how it's all getting the same color? You want to kind of avoid that. It's okay for like the center or something, but we really want to leave our brush strokes. I mean, if you ever look at Van Gogh's artwork, very much leave your brush strokes. And see how wet it is? It is going to be slightly raised. See that? Very much raised up there. So you can almost see that. As it dries, it will sink down in a little bit as well. And we want to get that watercolory look. So if you wanted to, you can even add water to your brush. We don't often do that with acrylics, but that's okay. That's why we put all that white down in there. It will dry. So I'm putting, because I want it to spread a little bit. So now I'm just going to stick some water on there and just let that get really light and spread a little bit on the edge. See how I'm doing that? Really light. Almost like paint a light pink around the edge. Let it kind of ooze. I can even blow a little bit. See? Moving my paint or brush it. However you want to do it. It's there. See how I'm kind of getting that? And I kind of blended almost too much in my middle, showing you how not to blend, so I'm going to put a little more red in the middle. Alright, so kind of looks like a big mussy dot. But you can kind of see how we're doing that flower, because we're going to be going back over it with the black paint. Now, if your hand is not very steady and you don't want to use black paint, you can go over it with black marker as well. You can take your marker and go in there and do that. Even watercolor markers are really good, just those basic little kid kind that you get. You can use that to go in and go around the edge too, especially if you use a little bit of water with it. It'll kind of blend as well. If you watch any of my other videos on when I was showing the kids how you do watercolor with the markers, same idea. You can put your marker down if you want it to kind of bleed a little bit. You just put your water over top of your flower where the black is. So next one is our little bud. So with my bud, I kind of want it up here in the corner, or it could be anywhere. Or if you don't want a bud, that's fine too. Kind of same thing, except for this one's more of an oval. See how that's bleeding out? You want that. See how that's happening? That's what we were looking for. That little bit of bleed out. And that's happening down here on mine too. See, right there, some bleeding going on. It's just kind of oozing, and we want that. That's what we want. We want a little bit of that going on so it will be more like a watercolor. But it's a little bit more colorful sometimes, because the acrylics are a little bit more colorful. See how I have that? Okay, and if I leave it up like that too long, see how sometimes I leave it down, it's starting to bleed. But that's okay, because that's actually going to where my stem is. So that is the first part. Second part is our leaves. So when we look at our leaves, shape, triangle. And we're not going to worry about the stem. If you want to put the green stems in, like as you're doing them green's fine, you can go over it with black, or you can just have your leaf like floating for the first part. And if we look here, it's like triangles. Not perfect triangles. Kind of oblong, organic shaped triangles. So that's our next part, is doing that. So I did rinse my brush out a little bit because I am using this wet. And I got to figure out where my leaves go. And it could be wherever you want your leaves. They don't have to be where I place mine. Oops, I have it upside down. Doesn't really matter, but I had it upside down. So now I need to go, see how I do my leaves? And I'm just painting it in. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be choppy. It can be smooth. The leaves, same thing like we did with our flower. They can bleed a little bit. Some areas are going to be darker. Some are not going to be darker. Maybe I want more of a pastel one. I can leave it more pastel. If I want it darker, keep making it darker. And whichever way your brush strokes are going is where they're going to kind of stay. There's my next leaf. And maybe I'm going to put a small leaf coming out. Maybe one going off the page. See how that one's going off the page? It's going around. I can even wrap it around the side of the canvas. So it goes like that. That's up to you. However you want to do it. So it can wrap around or not. This is kind of a white background, so you don't have to do the edge if you don't want to, but if you want to have your leaf wrap around, that's fine. Now remember, you can go ahead. Now see, I'm taking my, that's why I like this type of brushes. They work. So see how instead of using it flat like I was, lifting it up and I'm going out. I can do that a little bit just so I kind of know where my stems are going. My next one, see there's my, it's starting to bleed a little bit because I've been holding it up. If you don't want yours to bleed, go like that. If you don't mind it up bleeding a little bit like mine, that's fine too. And I'm going to keep going. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do in here. So when I do this, think about your triangles for your rows. And see, it's gonna get all messy and bleedy and everything like that. It's gonna go everywhere. I like that when it happens. See? And then my next leaf down there. Oh, I like that. It's kind of bleeding all over the place. Some areas, see there. See how it's kind of bleeding everywhere? That's what you want. You don't want, if it starts doing that, that's okay. If it's staying a little bit and you want it to do that, just get some water on there. Because that one, I was like, oh, that's kind of already dried, that background. So I just taps my water along there and look at it. It's going to start going out. See? Yep, starting to get that watercolor effect. So see how I'm doing that? Getting those leaves all like that. And, oh, maybe I'll have a, where do I want one? I think I might have one. I might have one go off here. And as I said, using the side. And we can go over that with black. Doesn't have to stay the green. I'll do some small ones. Ooh, I like that. Look how that's going. Yeah. And this one, I'm going to have that go off the page. Look at that. See? I have my... What happens when you're holding it up? Got my hair in it. Look at that. Doesn't matter which way, however you want to hold, however you want to do it. You want it that way, this way. Man, looks a little weird, the rose coming. I guess it could be coming out at you. So either way, however you want to do that. And if you want to get kind of even more interesting, I'm going to wet my brush up. I'm going to put my paint. I got some pink paint. You can do it with green or black. I'm going to spritz. Ooh. Just makes it interesting. Ah! Try to do it one-handed. That's all right. There. So now I got some little bit of spritzing. And as I said, you can do it with the black. You can do it with the green. You can do a mix on there. That makes it just look a little bit interesting. Now, I can let it dry and then go in with my black, but really, I'd have to make a whole other video and come back, and I don't want, I'm alright with that. So when I look at my petals for my rose, you're gonna start in the center. Now look at the shape. they're kind of like really long triangles, or like lips kind of coming out. They're not really like perfect little triangles or anything. So they're going to be an organic shape. So I usually start with my middle, and I just kind of go with a little bit of black on my edge, tip down. So remember, do it over here. Wide, I want wide. If I want it narrow, remember I was going up and down, turn it, and you just want your tip. That's why I love flat brushes. Flat brushes are kind of fun with that. So now I have black on my tip, and I'm using my tip. I'm not going flat with it. As I said, if you're uncomfortable or you're worried about doing it with a brush, this is one you could easily get out a marker. Permanent marker, or as I said, I like the watercolor look for this, so sometimes I'll put out a regular black marker, and then I can put some water over and let some of the areas bleed and some not. You can also use a black pen, black felt pen, so that's kind of up to you, but I'm going to use the paint. And I'm going to go in. See how I'm starting? Almost like a leaf. I usually start almost like a leaf with that. And then I kind of think about, as I said, how it's going to go. As I said, I like doing this while it's wet because it kind of gets that bleedy look. It starts running just a little bit. See that? It starts running a little bit. See how I'm thinking? I'm thinking like lip kind of things. See how it's doing that? Almost. Let me think about how a petal would look. Yeah, you have tulips out, stuff like that, but you might not have any roses yet. See how I'm kind of just going around with that organic shape. I'm thinking long, kind of a rectangle, but triangle-ish and wobbly. So it's kind of all those. I'm just going to keep going out with that. And if you notice, I started small, and I'm going to go out bigger. See how I'm doing that? And I can have some small ones that overlap, like maybe there's a little one that comes out, and then maybe a big one that goes around it, and then maybe a little one that sticks out here. And yes, I keep dipping every once in a while because if I don't have any paint on my brush, and then I end up just not really doing much. Ooh. Well, I'm getting to the edge, and the nice thing with the edge, you can go right on the edge, or you can go outside the edge a little bit. See, I'm going outside the edge a little bit. That's fine too. See how it's starting to look like a flower? Now, if you see my shape, I didn't really like particularly any shape, but as I said, almost like if you cut the leaf in half and wiggled it all up. That's how you do it. And you think this would be a really nice one to do outside. You could do it like an open rose. You could do it like a peony, zinnias. As I said, this is kind of a rose style. Ooh, look at that. Getting there. I like it. Now, my other rose, I was holding it upside down a little bit because I wanted that to run. See how my green's now starting to run in? Look at that. Isn't that really cool? Because I was holding it upside down. Instead of my leaf going this way, it kind of just ran into it because I went over top. I love doing that because it does some really neat stuff. And remember, that happens with water. If you have your paint too thick and you don't have enough water on there, it kind of just stays. And I did some of those over here where it stays. So it depends on how you like it. If you wanted this one to do that, put some water over it and just kind of move it all around like I was doing. Okay, now, what I start with this, I always start where my middle is. It's going to curve out, almost like a heart, with a middle. See how I curved it out with almost like that? Yeah. Then, a little bit in the tip, the outside petals. And you'll get your rose look to it. I might even put like a little line in there. So, see how it's like a heart? And then the middle. And then I put almost like wobbly hearts on the outside. And I could do the same thing with my leaves. I'm dipping my brush again. And instead of going right inside the leaves, because these ones are running a bit, I'll go either right along the edge or a little bit outside of it, because mine's still wet, so it will bleed out to that too. Or it will stay where it is. See how I'm doing it? See, right? I even left it where it was still bleeding there. And then I'll do another one. See? like that. And then I'll do my little edge. And I would go through and do all my leaves just like that. See? Ooh, look at the running. It's actually almost going to drip. It's alright. Oh, I missed the edge there. Outlined them. And don't forget the middle and the leaf. Middle and the leaf. Okay. I can even do like a crease, like where it's indented, where I almost did like a little V. And do that too. Outline. And you don't have to go as fast as I'm going. You can go slow. Just go real edge. See, I'm going really slow. You can do that too. See? Remember I had a stem there. Ooh, maybe I want to put some thorns on. Put some thorns on. Or no thorns. Ooh. Look at that. Isn't that coming together? Look at that. One more leaf. Ooh, look at that. The white's even dripping down over it. That's cool. There. And there is my watercolor rose. See how it kind of looks. And I'm going to let that dry. Now, as I said, you can let your thing dry before doing the black. And then you can go in it with marker, or if you want like a darker ink or whatever, you can go in and do this while it's dry. I did mine while it's wet because I like that little bit of, see how even my black's starting to bleed there a little bit? I like that look. I like that little bit of that watercolor look to it, where it's kind of doing its own thing, really. And if you don't want it to drip like this, like mine's starting to drip a bit, then just keep it flat while you're doing it. It's kind of hard for me to do that. I could have done that, but then it would have been an interesting video. You just would have seen like the flower being painted. Yeah. And if you don't like this and something happens like you are picking it up, remember you can flick paint. Ooh, flicking the paint, flicking paint. And you can do that. I'm going to do some green flicks too down here. Ooh, so you can flick that around. That just kind of gives it a more interesting look. Figure paint a bit. There we go. There. See? Alright, and that is a little under a half an hour, but you can take longer than that. As I said, take your time. You can always stop the video and start it up, and we'll also do some Facebook Lives where we're painting too, especially if you have questions and stuff. So we'll go over some of the different paintings and what's going on, questions you have. So we'll do some sessions with that too. So we'll do some Facebook Live, and you can type little things in there, or just message me too. Maybe we'll even do a Zoom session. Not everyone has the Zoom, but I've done that with the classes a little bit too. They're kind of fun. Alright, that is it.